What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Scrim School ScrimCast. I am your host, Bobby Socks. If you are new here, what we do is every week we host this thing called the ScrimCast, and we talk to members of the PvP community, get their viewpoints, their ideas of the game, state of the game, things they'd like changed, so on and so forth. It's also an open forum, so you guys can ask any questions as we go along. If you have anything you want to know from the guests of the week, you are more than welcome to type it in chat, and I will ask it to these two guests. Our guests this week are T00Hardcore and VVeather, or Weather. I'm going to undeafen them, and let's get it popping. Hello, gentlemen. Yo, Hardcore and Weather. What is going down, guys? So if you haven't caught one of these before, the way this works is this is kind of an open forum. We sit here, we talk about the game, stuff like that, and then follow it up with the second half of it is practical scrims, where we hopefully have students that hop in, want to learn, and play with and against you guys.
Cool.
So let's start it off. Who are you? What makes you tick? What do you enjoy? Doesn't have to be just in game. You can talk about out of game as well.
You want me to go Weather or you first?
No, you go first, big guy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very nice of you. Well, yeah, my name's Will. I started introducing myself by my first name because I think it's a lot more personable than like all of our online personas, but a lot of people know me as T00Hardcore. I started back in D1 as a trial Sherpa and kind of progressed. These days, I kind of just call myself a Destiny2 content creator because I find more value in the game as a whole. Father of two, happily married, and I'm a project manager when I'm not making content online. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. What are you a project manager for, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm a project manager for a company that does underground utility locating.
Okay.
We use like ground penetrating. Like if you have ever seen like any of those crazy shows on Discovery Channel and stuff like that, we use ground penetrating radar to scan for utilities, human remains, concrete, like you name it. I've probably found it.
Oh, nice. That's what's up. Hell yeah. All right, Weather, what you got?
Hello there. My name is Nick. Most people know me as Weather. I used to go by Nick the Weatherman, so I had to shorten it to where it's a little sweeter. I chose that name because, well, I'm raining headshots most of the time. Sarcasm, obviously. And I'm a father of one to little Gracie. Most people know little Gracie. She's special needs. Happily married. And, well, I am a member of a mold maintenance team in an anti-vibration facility. Basically, we make parts for all major Japanese car manufacturers, so strut mounts, top hats, you know, anti-vibration stuff. As far as content creation goes, I just started in April. I do my thing. I'm the Titan Punchy boy on Destiny, and on my side time, I teach people how to be just as washed as me at the game.
Just as washed. I feel that. I love that. Sorry, I was distracted. Apparently, the stream is being boosted. What a hell of a day for it to get boosted. Am I right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I dig that Twitch is doing this, first off. Giving you a chance to push to the top of the directory for a little bit, and it sends out to people. For you two that don't know me, my name is JD. That is real name. Here we are. Chat that didn't know, welcome. Hello. I am a D1 Alpha vet. Not the D1 Alpha vet, obviously, because I'm way more humble than that. I am a longtime Destiny player, longtime FPS shooter. I also am a project manager. That's why I was interested in what you did for project management, but I am a project manager for data centers. So I work for a tech and gaming company, and I'm a project manager for them.
Nice.
Yeah. So a little backstory on me. I have 3 kids, 3 girls. That's also why my hairline is receding slowly.
Oh, not just trials. Crazy.
Trials too. That too. Yeah, that's a little bit back on me. All right, let's jump into it. And I see Eddie ask the question first. Love Eddie first. Eddie is the homie. And his question is for hardcore. And I usually wouldn't read this one, but this is a fantastic question. It says, question for hardcore. When the time comes, why don't you stand when you wipe?
There's no shot I'm ever wiping while sitting down. That's not actually accurate.
That's good.
Wait a minute. You guys don't sit down and wipe? What?
No shot.
Nope. Nope. I like to stand one leg up on the bathtub, make sure I get it all out.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Well, we're kicking this show off to a great start.
Here we go.
Here we are. Just wanting to make sure Will and I would remain friends. Thanks. I got you, Eddie. All right. So let's start it off. So you guys have both played since D1, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Yep. So in D1, were you guys always playing PvP? Did you do more raid stuff? How'd it go down? How'd you get hooked in this?
I think weather. That's you're up.
Okay, so initially I started back right after Glass, before Crota, and I really went into PvP just a couple times, and I wasn't good. Like literally, I'm probably thinking like 0.4 KD. That's how bad I was. So I stuck to raids. I came from Call of Duty, and I was just like, wow, the universe is massive. Like I was like, this is gonna be so much fun doing something that I've never done before. And so I got into raids, did raids and stuff like that. And then a little bit before taking King, I would assume it was probably about 3-4 months before taking King, I actually started trying to practice PvP just to see if I could get better at it. And believe it or not, and a lot of people don't believe this, I actually did scrims pretty regularly. And I was a sniper on a hunter.
Huh.
Yes, I was a sniper on a hunter. I actually have 2 montages of me just sniping. And so once I got into that, and I was like, man, I really dig PvP, and I started practicing it. I started learning, the maps. I started watching my footage back. Started, just getting deep in it, and I started to find a really big interest for it. So when Destiny 2 came out, this is odd. When Destiny 2 came out, I was a warlock. I mained warlock for like the first couple months, and Trials of the Nine, when Devour was popping off, like I was just.
Oh God, were you one of those Devour locks?
Yeah.
Handheld.
I went flawless and carried people a lot in Trials of the Nine. I don't have an exact number, but I did that, and like literally, I was like, yeah, I could really get into this. Stopped playing for a couple months. I stopped playing Destiny for a couple months. I was playing other things. I was playing, I don't even know. I can't even remember. And then I hopped back in on PC. Right in Curse of Osiris. So I've been playing on PC since then. And that's, I've been a hunter up until about 5 months ago. And that's shotgun all the way.
Of course. All right. Will, what you got? Were you a PvP main, PvE main? Did you only touch PvP? Obviously, you were a Trials Sherpa, so.
Yeah, so it kind of got into it. I kind of like fell into it. I never really streamed before Destiny. I played, I really helped out like EA Sports, and I played a lot of hockey, like competitively, NHL. And that kind of dried up, and we started playing Trials with my brother and my one buddy, and we ended up going flawless fairly easily, consistently. And my buddy was like, yo, check out the LFG. Like everybody's having a hard time. Like we could help people go flawless. So it kind of like started there. I never streamed PvE activities or anything like that. Streaming like really took off. I got really lucky. Heading into D2, we were super excited. I was like, yo, this is my time. It's going to be great. We, everything was paid for through like the generosity of the community that, we built and stuff like that. But as I kind of progressed into like content creation, I realized quickly that service streaming just kind of wasn't my thing. I don't like that moniker. I don't like that term because I feel like I have so much more to offer when it comes to like streaming. So I started dipping my toes into PvE content. Challenging stuff is very rewarding. Grandmaster Nightfalls, low guardian challenges rather. We worked on 3-man Deepstone Crypt last weekend. I had a good time. It's been a really good time. I've really enjoyed it. Now I just kind of try to stream whatever I want, whenever I want, and I try to not limit myself to just Destiny, because Destiny's not always going to be here, and I'm sure we'll talk about it tonight. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's as a whole, I stream Destiny, trials on the weekends, raids and stuff like that during the week. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Actually, I love that. I like getting well-rounded people on the cast as well, because you get more of an input of, I'm only a PvP scrub, I don't touch anything else, I hate stasis. We're just gonna throw that out there, because that's obviously a hot topic. That's obviously a hot topic is stasis every single chat. I have to scroll back up to Alan's because he is yelling at me. Good Lord, it moved fast. Actually, first we're gonna hit Cam's question and then we'll double back to Alan's. So Cam highlighted, he says, how would you combat stasis without using stasis?
I always tell people that unfortunately there's not like a fix-all button for that. I'm a W key holder, I always have been, and it's really tough for me. I play Top Tree Dawnblade, I play Hunter, I play all classes a lot except for Titan, and I just started picking that up a little bit more because of how like aggressive you can be with the new stasis subclass. But to answer his question simply is you just have to bait corners. Shatter Dive is a real big issue. People are running higher discipline, higher strength. They're not relying on supers or gunplay anymore. As a Top Tree Dawnblade, my favorite play to make people look kind of silly is to push a corner with a single Icarus dash and then Icarus dash backwards. They'll, most of the time, if they're not real experienced, you're going to draw out their grenade and their Shatter Dive, and they're going to be kind of caught with their pants down. But 2, if they don't have those abilities up, baiting those corners and stuff like that is a good way to get them to push for you to be ready with your shotgun out or your sniper or whatever guns you're using. You just kind of have to play more baity. Unfortunately, like I always meme on my buddy for I always bait him or he always baits me and we always meme at each other. You kind of have to bait corners. That's kind of how you have to do it. You kind of have to pay more attention to cooldowns on abilities and stuff like that. And I know a lot of the top echelon players count sniper shots. Now that Revoker's gone, that's more effective. You have to keep track of what and who used what ability and stuff like that. Like that needs to be a thing. So play slower, play smarter, and bait a lot harder. You can't just W key around a corner. If you do, you're just going to get the Shatter Dive or the freeze absolutely. Or whatever.
I 100% agree. Whether you got anything to add to that?
Of course, I'm a stasis runner, and I've rode that train ever since it came out, and I've used its momentum and its abilities to my advantage. Like you did say, hardcore, like baiting corners. Yeah, that's one of the ways that you have to like counteract that. Floating above a doorway, in most instances, is always a way to counter that. And of course, yeah, you have to watch their abilities. But with hunters, now that like when they slam a grenade, they get the grenade right back. So basically, watching that is kind of a little difficult to to play against. So I'll bait a doorway, and when I see the grenade, I will use my ability to skate past them. My shoulder charge, stasis shoulder charge.
Yep.
Skate past, and get out of the grenade. Most of the time it works. Sometimes you have to be a little smarter than that. And if you're running a shotgun, baiting a doorway, trying to time things is key. Prediction and timing is massive when it comes to this game that we're playing now. So as a Titan, obviously skating behind your enemy is very advantageous because they don't know. They're like, oh, where'd he go? And you're behind them, and then pump pellets in their butt. So I mean, I can come off a stasis and use bottom tree striker just as well. Stasis is hard to counter, and it's something that you have to like really practice against other people that use stasis. Once you figure out, those little tricks, you'll be fine. But it does not need a nerf. Okay, now Shatter Dive does not need a nerf. We'll get into that later.
We'll dive into that. Don't worry. That's always a hot topic.
Yeah, it does not need a nerf. I'm just an advocate for that. But yeah,
I just fell out of my chair.
We'll dive into it and we'll get you guys' feels, and then I'll explain why it doesn't need a nerf. But first, Alan's gonna cancel me if I don't do this. Hardcore, how much do you love Alan?
I love Alan. I got a lot of love for King Alan. We're gonna play games this weekend too.
Ooh,
it's gonna be a good time.
Is he actually
double carries?
Double carries with double special?
Yep.
Sounds like
Yep.
Alan is actually also a previous Scrim school instructor. We had him on with the Halo Zenic, which was a great time. He was a blast. It was pretty funny. Jesus, my chat is blowing up. Thank you guys so much. First off, thank you so much for all the gifteds. Let me interrupt real quick and focus on chat a bit. You guys are incredible. You don't have to do that. Please give it to somebody else. Help everyone else out. Like, not needed. I just love having people here willing to learn. Those of you that are new from all of the raids, this is called Scrim School. It is a podcast and practical Scrim teaching episode. We host this every Wednesday night with 2 to 3 new guests every week. Make sure to tune in every single week, Wednesday nights at 7, so you guys can catch it. All right, back to the cast. Sorry, I had to catch up on that because chat was flying. Since we're already on the topic of stasis pretty heavily, what do you think is the strongest part of stasis, and what do you think is the weakest? What do you think could use a little bit of love?
I think everything has. I think you'd have to break down every specific character. Like, I think the strong, like my least knowledgeable one, the strength is, for Warlock, in my opinion, are all the abilities. The downfall is the movement. When you're in super, if you're not taking a gamble and rolling the dice and popping it kind of in a crappy situation, they're just going to outrun you. The super itself doesn't track as heavily as other supers do, and it's easily, like I said, you can run out of it. However, the rift is really undervalued. I post a lot of clips on Twitter of me rifting people and laughing the entire time. They rebalanced the melee, and I think it's in a really good spot now. Hunter, I don't know. I don't even know what a downfall to Hunter is. A lot of people don't like the super, but I think it's because a lot of people don't use the super correctly. You have a lot of map control and stuff like that, and it's a really good shutdown super. Shatter Dive and Ice Wall Grenades speak for itself. Titan, great movement. I'm trash with the super.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think there's a lot of downfall to anything. The Warlock one is the one that I'm really knowledgeable about because I've used it a whole lot, and I always lean towards movement. But the other two, yeah, I don't know. Movement is obviously not an issue on Titan. It's actually insane. And Hunter is always more mobile, and pairing that with Bacchus is just even better.
Absolutely. No, that makes perfect sense. I agree with everything you said for sure. I think, well, first let's get Weather's opinion on it. Weather, how do you feel about stasis? You guys talk a lot about Titans. I'm gonna guess that both of you are Titan mains? Question mark?
I am not. Nope.
Okay. What do you?
I just unlocked the Titan stuff this past weekend because I was tired of getting ran over by people just W keying me. So I unlocked all that. I ran Titan for most of the weekend, but I'm a Warlock main for the most part. I played Hunter for a long time because of how great the neutral game is, but Daddy's home on Warlock. I was a Warlock main in D1 too.
Gotcha. All right, and whether we know what you're a main of, so let's jump into your opinions on stasis. What do you think is what do you think its strengths are, and what do you think needs a little bit of love?
Ultimately, I feel like Warlock stasis needs a little bit of love, and that's just my honest opinion. Like the super is very slow, whether it be a roaming, it's very slow. But I have seen people use it very effectively. But I just feel like the movement needs to be sped up on Warlocks. I feel like Warlocks need a little bit of love. I know they nerfed them due to their, basically ability to just keep going over and over and over again. But I just feel like they kind of hit it a little too hard. I feel like they should speed up the movement just a little bit. Their abilities I feel like are fine because you can instantly be frozen by their staff and just sit there. But I also feel like Titans. One of the things that I feel about Titans is the click between the heavy and the light attack. There's like too much delay there. I feel like it just. I'm not talking like a major speed up. It just needs like a slight speed up between the two, because like there's like immunity, not like necessarily immunity frames, but it's like there's a big gap between the heavy and the light.
Sure.
But movement on Titan is superb. If you use Titan for stasis, screw the super, because it's anybody can run away from it. But the movement is where it's at. Hunters, I'm just gonna go ahead and say Shatter Dive does not need to be nerfed. The actual stomp itself, the grenade damage needs to be nerfed. The glacier grenade, because that goes for Titans as well, because we could just slide through it and deal just as much damage. So it's just a glacier grenade.
That right there is the answer that I needed. So obviously the neutral game on Hunters is insane. I'm one of the types that I think stasis is absolutely beatable. I do. It's frustrating, sure, to get frozen. And I don't think Shatter Dive is the problem. I'm stoked that Hunters finally have a chance to drop themselves out of the sky. Because if y'all remember Hunters from every other season since the beginning, you do your double jump, you float. And you are just skeet shooting. You know what I mean? You just fall. And if you jump into an area and you see a guy with a hard scope, you're just gonna fall and you're dead. It's worse than a ice for me. And if you just Shatter Dive without using like a glacier nade, it only does like 40 damage. It's nothing crazy. Nothing crazy at all. I'm hyped that there's actually movements for all classes now. I think that it's a good balance between where Warlock's double dodge is. It gives every class a chance to be able to move. Thoughts on that? Do you guys agree? Like, I think if anything needs to be adjusted, it should be the glacier nade's range of damage more than anything else.
I'm like opposite of you guys. I'm okay with Shatter Dive, but the immunity or the damage resistance they have while Shatter Diving is ridiculous. It needs to be adjusted. It's not balanced. It's not fair. I literally headshot a guy and did 30% of his entire shield while he was Shatter Diving. That's not okay. That's more immunity than a super.
Okay.
But I agree that it doesn't need to be crapped into the ground. It's unique. It's fun. The grenades are a good way to maybe, and the height. They need to come in. They need to look at the height too. Like, you can shatter an entire ice wall nade from like a foot off the ground.
Yep.
That's also not balanced at all.
So okay.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't think it's fine where it's at. It definitely needs to be tuned. I wouldn't say nerfed. And as far as your other question, movement goes, Hunter needs love. Everything else, Titan and Warlock both have movement upgrades that don't involve an exotic. Hunters don't have that. You literally need to wear Bacchus and run stasis for you to get any of the new movement perks for Hunter. Like, they need to bring Blink back for Hunter. Wow,
that's a hot take.
Movement is lit. I'm a big fan of movement. Movement is literally the last skill gap alive in D2. Everything else is a snooze fest. It's ability spam. It's 120s that are extremely oppressive. The only way you really tell true great players apart is their movement and their ability to use that to their advantage. So like, I just think adding more of that kind of stuff is a good idea. Warlocks have Blink and Icarus Dash. Titans now have whatever you want to call stasis. Hunters don't really have anything unless you run an exotic and a specific class. That's it.
Interesting. So you're against the whole argument of hunters are just stompy crutches and it's obnoxious to just watch them bunny hop, then, is what you're kind of you're saying?
I mean, I agree. You can use other exotics though and be viable. Dragon Shadow is very much viable. Wormhusk is still good. Bacchus is still good. The problem is the stompies give you what you want on Hunter. Hunters are supposed to be like the mobile, agile, ninja-y class of Destiny, and everything else has better movement than they do. So like, I don't blame people that run stompies. It makes sense, but if they had different movement abilities, like I said, Blink, that wasn't tied to an exotic, I think people would use that more.
Sure. No, that makes perfect sense. It's kind of refreshing to hear somebody just not say fucking hunters and their stompy crutches and stasis bullshit. It's very refreshing to hear. Whether you got anything to add to that?
Hunters have been so far down for so long, trust me. I was a hunter main for 6 years. Hunters have been so far down for so long that like now, them being where they're at, I honestly feel like, to be completely honest, I feel like they're fine, honestly. Because you got to think that, you know, when you're running stompies like before stasis and stuff like that, it's like really there's nothing as a hunter that you could really do that Titans and Warlocks could do. All right. And I feel like that stasis just brought them up to where they needed to be. Yeah, they need a little bit more love, but I mean, honestly, we're pushing a fine line here. How much more love can you really give them? Honestly, because either you give them Blink, and that's perfectly great. But if you just keep giving them more, then everybody's going to start complaining about hunters being OP again. Because you remember the Arc Strider or the Arc Blade subclass back in the day, you know, you blink, it's pretty much over, like with that subclass, because it was just overpowered back in the day. I used it. I know. Like running,
hunters still need something to close the gap though. Like they don't. If I'm top tree Dawnblade, they're not catching me in their super or anything. There's no shot.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's why in my case as a hunter, I always use my versatility and my movement as my advantage. Baiting doorways, baiting them into closed areas, closer areas. That's how you close the gap, in my opinion. I'm not taking credit away from anybody or what anybody's saying, but closing the gap was and still is a little rough. But with Bacchus, you can close that gap pretty quick now. I mean, there's just a lot more that you can do on a hunter now than you could, and I feel like that's a positive. So that's my take on hunter.
Definitely. So Aiden's got a question, and then we'll dive into weapon tags and stuff. He says, question for both. Would you say that Destiny is just ability spamming? If so, what would you change for it not to just be gunfights like COD, but also not completely just space magic?
I mean, that's tough. In my opinion, we just shifted to this, right? Like last season, we didn't really have this. And the way I can explain it is last season, a great example for like a hunter build, what everybody was shooting for was literally 100 mobility, 100 recover, 100 intellect, or close to, depending on what subclass you ran. This season, on all three across the board, I want 100 recov, and then depending on what character I'm on, I want thick boy discipline and thick boy in strength, because I want my if I'm Warlock, I want that Elsa staff freeze back. I want my rift back. Grenades are super viable for different things depending on what you're playing on. I don't necessarily know how you fix it. My general thought, and I've heard a lot of people have the same mindset, is stasis is extremely way too oppressive. It slows down a game that's already pretty slow with sword peeking and a bunch of other cheesy crap. If you get rid of freezing mechanics for utility and limit it to simply supers, it might help. But unfortunately, Bungie's just going to keep putting out dope utility. Like, I think everybody would agree that, like, being able to freeze stuff with rifts or a melee or shatter dive, like, that stuff is all unique to the Destiny verse, and it's cool. It just doesn't make things very exciting in terms of like anything else other than ability spam, and that's not fun to watch. Gunfights are fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Variety is fun to watch. I'm not saying that like abilities need to be crap. Some of them can be strong. Celestial Fire is still really strong, but even before stasis came back, I was never relying on just Celestial Fire like a lot of people rely on Shatter Dive Grenade.
Okay.
And it's apparent those that play that way.
Because they throw their nade and then run.
They run. Yeah, we played a team several times last weekend that would run outside, pull their swords out, and would not push until they had their abilities back. And if you play to that game and you push them, they're 3-peaking, you're at a disadvantage. And if you wait, you're at a disadvantage. I really dislike where the game's at right now. I am so frustrated with that, and I don't know how to fix it, because I agree with you guys. I think stasis is fun. I just don't know what to do about it.
Embrace the space magic and meme, my brother. That's the best way to go with it. Weather, same question.
This is a hard one, because like literally if you slow things down with the abilities too much, it just becomes COD, and if you slow the gunplay down, it just becomes ability spams like it is now. There's really, we're walking, like I said, we're walking a fine line when it comes to these abilities and stuff. Like it's hard to speak on, honestly, because the community will react negatively to anything that Bungie does. So it's, I mean, with good reason. If you just, and this is a hot take, you take us back to Destiny 2 Year 1, double primaries.
Yep.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Like, I'm just saying. But I don't know, man. This is tough. Slowing down grenades would be one way to fix it, because grenades are just like literally the crutch. Yeah, that would be the only thing that I could think of to fix it. Slow down grenade regen as far as a whole.
Okay, so you think slowing down grenades might actually boost the gunplay? That's
yeah, because Shatter Dive itself,
okay.
I feel like I think I checked it. I think Shatter Dive itself, like just by itself, does 60 damage. So you have to like Shatter Dive the ground 3 times to get somebody with like the rock bottom resilience. So
I definitely use Shatter Dive as a means to close the gap without my nade. I don't know if you guys have tried that or not, but somebody that's hard scoping you as you jump up the air, if you Shatter Dive in front of them, usually they're on controller and it takes them a minute to flick back down, and by then you can close the gap in shotgun. It's pretty fun.
I'm actually with that idea. I would say just increase the cooldown on that kind of stuff. Like, I think that's the way to go. In my opinion, the sandbox currently is the best it's ever been in terms of gunplay. Sure. There are lots of things you can use. There is a lot of variety. Pulse rifles, auto rifles are still good. Different archetypes of hand cannons. You're seeing more variety in specials used in terms of shotguns and snipers. Unfortunately, we just don't have a large variety of those things to choose from right now. I think Bungie bit off more than they could give us in terms of sunsetting things. We needed them to come like big swinging when it came to more loot. But the only thing I would change with guns right now are 120s, and I'm probably gonna make some people mad with this. They are more oppressive than auto rifle spam ever was. And if
I'm
you
gonna
get
go
a
ahead
team
and-
of 3-2-1s, it is
hold on.
bad.
Hold on. This is for chat on this one, because this is how I feel about that.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I definitely just dropped the hello, darkness, my old friend. I love
God.
120s. I love where they're at. I think they're a blast. I think they're finally usable. And I definitely just sat on a criminal's dagger with explosive payload, just for the hope that 110's got some love someday. So I'm stoked.
I use them. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, I use them. I'm like in the video that you're showing right now.
Yep.
I'm using a True Prophecy the entire time. But
Yep.
if you don't, the problem is just how dominant they are against everything. I don't know. I just think they need to be reined in a little bit. They're ridiculous.
Okay.
How to fix that would be damage fall off. Just bring it in just a little bit.
Just a hair. Just a hair, to the point where you might not even notice it truly, because right now the maps cater towards, there are really no maps where the 120s shine outright other than damage output to 140s. Convergence, if you're playing the long lanes, if you don't have a sniper rifle out, you're probably dead anyway. The thing with 120s is the sheer amount of damage you can put out time to kill wise. If you and your buddy and then you have Rampage in the sandbox as well as fragments and aspects that add to the damage output. It's just very oppressive, even more so than like auto rifle spam. But like I said, I don't think they're awful. I definitely enjoy the variety, and I wouldn't be mad if they didn't change them.
Like literally right now in the current sandbox, the 120 can do 2 heads, 1 body.
Yeah,
and that's like
At
and that's
60
at like
meters.
medium to
At 60 meters.
Medium.
We tested
medium
it
long range.
we tested it with Kami, and we were hitting 90 to the head at 60 meters.
Yeah.
It's
if you
wild.
decrease the value to where it was 70, it caused you to actually try to hit 3 headshots. Like you actually have to hit 3 headshots. Like you can keep the range, but if you decrease the value by 20 damage, 30 damage, I mean hell, like it just brings it on par with 140s. You know what I
And
mean?
here's the
Like
other
it's-
issue though, is the only one that's obtainable right now in the sandbox is Steady Hand, and that's only if Iron Banner comes around. The other issue that people have is headshots, body shots don't matter. If you get a decently rolled Steady Hand with Iron Gaze, which adds aim assist and retracts maybe a fraction of your max range, you can literally aim for the dick and get a headshot. So making it even less of a skill gap. That's also the issue, is 120s are not very skillful weapons just because of the sheer aim assist you have, whether you're on mouse and keyboard or controller, it doesn't matter. The hitbox is the size of a freight train.
Yeah. The criminal's dagger that I'm using, which actually I've never really used 120s up until the other day, actually. So the one that I'm using in the video that you have right now is actually the static roll criminal's dagger, and you can raise its power level up to 1260 and use it just for this season.
Okay.
Little known fact. And
I
I've
did
been
not
using
know
it.
that.
And it has opening shot on it, and it literally is a magnet for 3 headshots. Literally 3 heads to like a body, it two heads in a body, it does not matter. That thing is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And this is like literally my first time using a 120.
It's nice that 120s are where they're at too. Like I said, I can fight for both sides of the coin. Range is always king, but a lot of people don't understand that like 120s give you the freedom to spec hand cannons differently, in the sense that you can rock stability, and everybody's always like, but you're on mouse and keyboard, why do you want stability? Well, I'm glad you asked. Stability also has to do with your aim cone, which also resets faster the higher your stability is, which means you can pump shots off and be more accurate with that. So with the 120s already inherently having a further damage fall off than like 140s and stuff like that, you can rock a lot more handling and stability if you want, if that's your playstyle, rather than like 140s where you're like, just give me all the range I want. Everything else
Right.
is already there. So 120s are great for variety.
All right, so Brew's got a question. He says, question for all 3 of us. Do you think they're going to be able to introduce weapons fast enough to make up for the loss from sunsetting?
No.
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 That is a definite no across the board. I don't think they can because of the staff themselves. So I was reading an article once about how much it costs to make games. With new graphics and voice acting and the amount of creators it takes to create a game, they're starting to become more costly than creating a blockbuster movie. Like, to put it into a perspective, something like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was an $800 million game to design, and it had 245 game designers working on it at any given time. Bungie doesn't have that kind of employee list. And that was Cyberpunk. Like, that's to put it into perspective of how much it costs to create a game. And in this environment, and games starting to look more and more like movies. So they would have to decide where they would put their money into, and PvE brings more viewers more money than PvP does. So that's where we're at with that. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
No, I agree with everything you said. I don't think unless they pause their sunsetting, the issue that we're going to run into is the only way to combat that is to literally just copy paste stuff that we already have, and we've already seen it. We got a brand new sniper rifle that's literally a beloved with a scarf on it. We got a True Prophecy that's just got a little Iron Banner medallion on it that is steady hand. Like, that's the only way they're gonna, and that's not gonna satisfy people. Weapons need to feel unique, and still be powerful and stuff like that. Not everything's gonna be a winner, but like Garden of Salvation was always the great example of what happens when you don't plan out your loot drops for seasons. We got, like, everybody was like, oh, new DLC, it's better, but we literally got Garden of Salvation 2.0 in an entire expansion. There's like literally nothing new anybody's using.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They need to come out with 2 of like each archetype, like two of every kind of archetype of sniper, 2 of every shotgun. Like, they need to fully drop loot for them to catch up. If not, the sunsetting is just going to continue to get worse, and we're going to have smaller and smaller sandboxes. And I think they're trying to fix that temporarily by bringing back Fellwinters. There is no shot that should be back in the loot pool. Makes me extremely angry, not because I want an advantage over people that didn't play the game back then, but because I think it's a cop-out on Bungie's part. You literally told us it wasn't coming back if we didn't play. Too bad, so sad.
True.
And they're sunsetting it anyways. And in most of the clips that you're watching from a VOD of last weekend, I have Fellwinters. I'm using what is it?
Seventh Seraph?
Seventh Seraph. Yeah.
Same.
I mean,
Same.
like, Bungie 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
So here's my thought on that is, while it is recycled, quote unquote, for us, if newer players are coming to the game, like I saw somebody tweet a couple weeks back about who is this Cade guy? Why do I keep hearing his voice, but I don't know who he is? So there are new players that are coming in. So although it's recycled for us, new players have never gotten to experience a Palindrome, never gotten to experience a Mythic Last, never gotten to experience a Fellwinters or a Beloved, or, you know, along those lines. It's, to them, it is new content. So they're trying to bring newer players in, which unfortunately kind of stings.
I don't
for
think
us
it's doing
that have
it.
been- Yeah,
I don't think it
agree.
matters.
I agree. So I feel like they're walking a very fine line on that. You know what I mean?
I don't think anybody's gonna look at the game and be like, "Oh, hell yeah, Fellwinters is coming back, about to buy Destiny and die." Like, I just don't. I think they're 100% missing.
Okay.
Bungie wants to cater to all the casuals, and look at where it's got them. Numbers have never been this low 1 month after a fall DLC. Granted, it's during a pandemic, and I still think they did an excellent job with what they had to work with. I don't know how much I can lean on being like, oh, they did this all from home and stuff like that for much longer. I guess once things start to normalize, hopefully things get better, but I think they need to stop casualifying the game. I think that's another problem that we're having.
Agreed. It's 7 years in. I think most people that are playing have played. I think it's
I got a solution.
Starting to hit. What you got?
Just bring every weapon from Destiny 1 over to Destiny 2 and just take the 2 away and call it just Destiny.
Okay.
If they do that I'm okay with that, but that's a cop out. Like, they still need to provide new stuff. They can't just port D1 over and be like, look at what we've done for you, community. Like, that's a band-aid on us. Yeah. And I think that's what they're doing. I mean, I think that's what their plan is with them bringing VOG back and stuff like that.
There is a lot of people that have not played D1 that played D2, though. You know, a lot of the younger players obviously have not experienced D1.
True.
They weren't around when D1 was out, because we're looking, you know, think somebody's 14 and picked up Destiny, right? They weren't around at 9 years old playing Taken King.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that.
I would love to see that stuff make its way back, as long as Bungie and people understand that they need to be working on new stuff. It needs to be like a combo platter of both.
Agreed.
From somebody who
easy
played,
to drop in. It's easy to drop in old content.
Yes. Yep.
So drop into the old content, invest your time in new.
But as somebody who's like, we've all played since the beginning, basically, I really dislike the people that are like, God, Destiny 1 was so much better. There is no shot. I 1000% disagree with anybody who has that mentality. Destiny 2 as a whole is a much better game than Destiny 1 ever was. Everybody looks through it with their nostalgia glasses. Destiny 2 is like 4 quality of life updates away from being damn near perfect. Vendor refresh, strike dedicated loot, better, unique, iconic raid weapons, farmable weapons, armor, and glows and stuff. Like, D2 is right there. I just don't think Bungie understands that that's what they need to provide. They just want the new next big thing.
Absolutely.
Like the menagerie or their lure and stuff like that. I think that's stuff lame.
What do you mean? Menagerie was fantastic.
Okay, let me amend that. Menagerie's good. What they're trying to do now is lame. The lure is not good.
Lures is like a watered down menagerie. I 100% agree.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to agree with King Allen. D1 raids were fire. Like, I mean, King's Fall was the shit. I ran that thing at least 80 times, bro.
Why'd you run it 80 times though?
Challenges and everything, man. I was doing carries and stuff like that. You know, I was having fun.
I think that boils down to the loot, though. I think the raids themselves are just as good, if not better, in D2. I think the difference is the weapons and loot were more iconic and distinguishable. Now you don't run any of those old raids. There's no reason to. All those weapons are basically useless except for the raid exotics.
Okay.
And even those are like, you know, meh.
Okay. I dig that, actually. That's a very valid point. I definitely built a Titan in D1 just so that I could Sherpa King's Fall, because nobody ever ran Weapons of Light, and that was the easiest way to Sherpa, was to be like, hey, I am a bubble Titan running Weapons of Light. Here we are.
I mean, like running through the abyss and Crota. I mean, as a hunter, it's like people are like, oh, we need hunters. That was like prime time. Like that was so great. I want something like that back, you know?
I think they're going to bring that back.
I do. I think they will as well.
Luke Smith's article about them sunsetting classes, he wants to give each character more identity, like there was in D1. There was specific jobs for each class. Now it's kind of like Warlock's got Well, Titan's got Bubble, Hunter Tether thing. I mean, you can do without all of those in different instances. You don't need a hunter to do raids these days. And I hope that with the sunsetting of supers, they bring that back.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I got to catch up on a couple of chat questions because chat's flying and we are way behind. Let's go to Brew real quick. He said, would bringing back the weapons be good for the game? I think we answered that one in our last talk. Shadow says, when you eat a taco, do you go in for a bite? Do you lean your head to the left or the right?
To the right.
To the right.
Okay. Left, but I'm left-handed, so here we are. All right, let's keep moving down the
crazy.
list.
I'm right-handed. I wonder if that's tied. That's got to be tied to it.
It's got to be tied.
Has to be.
It's got to be tied. Aiden says, do you feel that the standard Scrim rule set is fine? What would you add or remove to the ban list? So if we look at something like T-Show scrims, right?
I say, even though I'm in T-Show, I don't scrim a whole lot to the point where I'm like real knowledgeable about that stuff. I'm on team like, if it's obviously broken, it doesn't need to be in scrims.
Okay.
I know I know that's a cop-out answer, but
no, that makes sense. I mean, things that are, powerful but not overpowered. Like, I hate seeing Cloud Strike banned. Cloud Strike is fun, and it forces non-team shooting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cloud Strike actually requires you to get a headshot anyways.
Yep.
So it's like, it's skill. Anything that's skill-based, I feel like should not even be touched, like, at all. Crimson does not need to be in which it isn't. But apparently somebody was talking about it's supposed to be coming back in the Scrim list. I don't know. But
I believe Crimson is actually not banned. It's not banned, actually.
In my opinion, Crimson should be.
Crimson is kind of fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
right.
Crimson is pretty wild.
It is. Like, literally, it's like you can riddle people off of you can riddle a sniper off with the headshots. And then once you get a kill, like, doesn't matter what the kill is, guess what? Get your health back. So you just committed to an engagement, and I'm just gonna come in and ruffle feathers. I'm trash at the game. I'm gonna run Crimson, and then I'm just gonna hit all body shots, and then I'm gonna commit to this engagement, and I'll be almost dead, and get all my health back. No.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
No.
All right, let me see. I missed one more. Where'd it go? No, Destiny 2 is not using a very old game engine. They just updated their engine this season. So they are on a completely new engine. It's not a full engine redo. However, they changed it to a physics engine so that they can implement more updates faster and adjustments. So yes and no. It's an engine built on top of an engine that they'll probably convert to a full engine at some point. Let me see where I missed one more. Here we go. Brew asks, since you're all Destiny 2 content creators, do you feel that D2 and the direction is sustainable to continue creating content for the game? And if not, what are you looking towards for the future? I'm going to add on to that.
I don't feel like Destiny 2 is very sustainable well, I mean, I don't feel like it's gonna be sustainable, at least for the next. I'm gonna give it a year, if that, because if they don't do something fast. As far as me and PvP, strictly PvP, there's no new maps, nothing to chase as far as the competitive quote unquote survival game mode. There's nothing to chase there. There's we just have to wait till the weekend until Trials comes out. Trials is a snooze fest. I don't even do Trials anymore because, like, literally it's everybody's just camping at 3 wins, resetting cards, going to 3 wins, resetting cards just so they can get Adept Weapons kind of fixed that, but, like, really, how long are we going to keep doing this? Like,
Adept Weapons didn't fix that. I'm going to interrupt you there. Adept Weapons did not fix that because you can get the same rolls that you could get in your 3-5-7 wins. However, the perks that they've dropped for the last 2 weeks have not been on it. Hasn't been on it. It really hasn't. Last week's Adept was was extended mag, right? It gave you 1 extra shot in your Astral.
And you sacrifice handling.
Exactly. And not only that, but then you can't use something like an Icarus.
Yep.
Well, let me rephrase this. It didn't necessarily fix it. It's still a band-aid that is, like, profusely bleeding over a gunshot wound, right? So it just gave you just a small glimmer of something to chase. There's nothing to chase. That's what I'm saying.
It was cool to be like, look, I got an Adept, but my Adept dropped with Field Prep, Elemental Capacitor, and Small Bore. Best believe that shit got infused so fast. And that sucks because Adept is supposed to be something that you flex.
RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG does not make for good content, and it never will.
Mm-hmm.
Our Adept weapons should be randomly rolled, but it should be a set roll from week to week, and the roll and how they roll that out should also not be set. like in terms of everything. Like you should be able to go flawless and get any random adept mod, but there would be a set like weapon that weekend.
Agreed.
I just think them coming out like next weekend, if the adept weapon's the rocket launcher, wow.
Probably not gonna.
Can't wait for everybody to not want to play Trials. My answer for that is, to the original question, is no. But King Allen is talking about in chat is something that I learned early on, and why I don't like ever being referred to as a service streamer. Is I am the content. I will continue to be the content. I will make the content. And if it's on Destiny, then fine. But if I don't want to play Destiny, I just don't play Destiny. I have higher, like if to break it down even more, metric wise, I didn't run a single raffle on Friday and my numbers were higher than they ever were. Have been.
Agreed.
Same with Sundays. And if I don't want to run raffles anymore, I just don't. People are going to hang out and vibe with me because like I said, again, I'm the content. With that being said, it's not easy for everybody to branch out and go stream another game. Last night I opened Pokemon cards. I know, right? Real bold of me.
I saw that.
I played Tarkov. Tarkov isn't everybody's game, but people are going to throw up the tab, chat and vibe and chop it up with me and have a good time. Same with like Sea of Thieves. That's another one that I play. Don't put for younger, smaller content creators, and I include myself as a small content creator, do not hitch your wagon to Destiny. It is not going to be here forever, and we're about to go through a period of time in the franchise's history like no other if they don't turn the boat around.
Agreed. So I actually looked at the numbers on it. I was talking with a buddy who was talking about getting into streaming, and he plays a multitude of games. He plays everything from Overwatch to Destiny to Apex to anything and everything, right? And we were like, let's run over the numbers. On a Saturday, Destiny averaged 11.4k viewers. Apex averaged 31k. Fortnite averaged 174k. So streaming Destiny isn't conducive for being a content creator. It's not. I stream Destiny because I love it. It is a game that I've invested in forever. However, when Halo comes out, if Destiny's not in a good spot, I will 100% be a Halo Infinite main. 100%.
I'm gonna say something about that. Like literally, what I was saying was like that like there's just no content for people to play as far as content creation. To me, I don't really care because all I do is most of the time is play comp. If you check any of my streams out, I'm playing comp. Like that's most of the time that's what I'm doing because I just enjoy playing the game mode. And it's not like if you want to come watch me, you can come watch me. It's like I'm just here to chill. I'm here to play survival and do what I like to do. Now, as far as content creation, I've already have plans to move to other places. Just I kind of don't want people. I just don't want people to see me drop, goose eggs and breadsticks in Valorant right now. So
right. You're looking at.
But you can turn that into content though. You can turn that into like as I grow through the game. People enjoy that journey as like a lot of people do as like a rise to greatness, if you will, like the growth.
Yeah.
Because it shows them that they themselves can do it too.
Yeah.
Which is why like we started on my channel, like before this season, we started Flawless Friday. And my mindset has always been, it's about the journey rather than the destination, where we don't do raffles. We literally just set up times to play with people that have never been flawless ever. And we play until we get it done. And sometimes it takes a week or two. Sometimes we don't get it done that first Friday. We move on to the next Friday. But people find comfort and great value in that. There's people that we've taken flawless that have been trying for 6 years. I had somebody break down and start bawling their eyes out because they've never been flawless. Like that's the content. That's the stuff. So like if you're a potato in Valorant, kind of like I'm a potato in PvE, man, that makes for some good content when you have like really good fails or you have really triumphant moments. So I wouldn't let that hinder you.
Absolutely, I agree. That's the thing though, is if you're enjoying what you're doing, even if you're bad at it, like I'm not a top 500 player. I'm not a top 100 player, obviously. But if you enjoy what you're doing, chat's gonna vibe along with you. They really are.
See, that's why that's why I play comp. I enjoy playing comp. I really do. A lot of people, a lot of people don't like it. That's fine. I just enjoy playing it. It's just me. So if you come to any of my streams and you're just like, oh, what are you doing? Comp? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you don't have to watch. I'm just here. I'm the same person I'm always going to be. Whether it be Valorant, whether it be Halo Infinite a year from now, whether it be Cyberpunk, I'm still the same person. So it's like, I just enjoy playing Destiny.
I agree. That's what brings people back. Like, the other half I tested was not advertising, and just posting it on Twitter, and I found that viewership is gone up as well. So that's another one for those of you that are trying to be a content creator or thinking about it. It's a sorry, everyone's banning King Allen. It's making my day right now. It's not about the content itself, or it's not about the creator. Word's hard. It's not about the game. It's about the creator and how they vibe and who they talk to and how they talk. Everyone, you have been banned by a moderator. Jeez, my chat's going off. All right, we are at an hour right now already. Holy shit, you guys are insane. These conversations are amazing. It's up to you. Do you want to peel off here and do the practical portion, or are you vibing with chatting? I'll let you all to pick.
I'm good with doing whatever. I can sit here and talk forever. That's kind of like, that's my thing.
I'm having a blast with it, but I do also want to get into the practical at some point. However, we can keep chatting for a while. Some of these run a little over, just because the conversations are so on point. Like tonight's conversations are amazing. They're strong. So let's dive back into it. What meta wise, obviously everything is viable in meta. What would you think is a little weak in this current meta and needs some attention? It could be a specific archetype, it could be whatever.
What is weak? Oh man, I know people want scout rifles to be strong and viable, which I think they are. Trusty is scary, but I think if you tweak scout rifles, I don't know if Bungie has the how should I put this, the delicate hand to make that a reality, because if you buff scout rifles, you potentially replace a lot of weapons. Fusion rifles, I don't even want to talk about, because somebody killed me mid-air with a fusion rifle from like 4 miles away, so don't even get me started about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I really like the sandbox right now. I just think there's little subtle tweaks that need to be made. I think sniper rifles need some love, and I know some people are going to be like, what the heck are you talking about? I think they nerfed the wrong thing. The scope magnification's not the issue. They need to recode the recoil thing. I still don't have a problem with the brand new 45 on the Adored.
Okay.
I still like get flinched right onto headshots. I think that's
Yep. That's everything
nerfed
that
and
chat's
tweaked.
saying. Recoil
I think
and
they
flinch.
need to be tweaked.
So, call it a bit of a hot take here. I think that 360 auto rifles need some love.
I don't think I've ever used a 360 auto rifle.
Exactly.
I don't use it. I mean, that's not saying that. Don't let me be the example. I don't like tracking in Destiny with mouse and keyboard, so I try to refrain from using auto rifles.
Interesting. Okay. Weather, what you got on it?
I'm gonna agree with Half Baked here. I have 2 weapons that I feel like need some love: SMGs and sidearms.
Sidearms are tough, man.
Sidearms
if you know
are
how to
good
use
though. You just don't see them because people are but people don't use them because they're a victim of meta. There are plenty of like really good sidearms out there that people just don't use. When I was back and forth on console and PC, Sturm right now on console, unless it got nerfed and I'm not remembering it, Sturm is better than like 85% of hand cannons on console. Same with like Last Hope and well, not Last Hope. What's the other one? The Vanguard one.
Last Dance.
They could use some love. I would say they could use some love. I'd just be careful with it because people just don't use them. They're underrated.
Sidearms are nuts. So on PC, they're not as bad, but on console, they shred.
Yeah, they're
disgusting. I have an anonymous autumn with Kill Clip, and it's filthy.
Let's talk about that. Also, it's like you gotta split up between console and PC unless you're gonna merge the two and make it cross-platform.
They're going to. So
yeah, well, I know that's coming, but as of like if there was going to be another update, like right now,
sure.
It's like, you know what I mean, like. You can't just be like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander on both, because come on, man, it's like movement is a thing on PC that is way more advantageous than it is on console.
I agree that they need to do that, but I think they need to prove that they can separate the sandboxes before we start separating console PC.
Like
because stasis needs to be nerfed or well, okay, I'll take that back. Stasis needs to be adjusted in PvP, but it doesn't need to be touched in PvE.
Agreed. Because if it gets adjusted in PvE, it won't be used.
So there was a portion of the VOD where I shotgunned that hunter shatter diving point blank, and he took no damage. Smile.
I'm also going to point out that you were sword peeking.
When?
That needs to be taken out. I'm just saying.
Last game before, you were sword peeking.
Oh, yeah. That's me playing a cheater.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
That's fair.
I don't ever equip a sword unless I know I'm playing a cheater.
Okay, that's fair.
Ever. Like even then I have to be already molding for me to even care that much. Normally it's Wardcliff coil.
Right. Buff 3 peeking. Get out of here, meme. Somebody ban meme. Buff 3 peeking.
But I would like to see that removed too.
Yeah. But as stated about SMGs need to be brought up just a little bit, in my opinion. I think if you diversify the special slot a little bit.
I don't know if you've ever seen I don't know if you've ever seen Calico play, but SMGs in his hands. God damn, dude. I got ran so many times. We matched Cal, Cone, and Kim in Trials last weekend. And holy shit. That man destroyed us with his SMG.
Could you imagine a sandbox where a shotgun and an SMG could coexist? Smile.
What do you mean? Calico runs.
SMG okay, look, Calico's the exception. Okay, Calico is the exception here. It's called Mac trucking for a reason.
Yep.
I'm just saying, like if you diversified, like I seen Meta the other day. Like I'm like, wow, somebody's using Meta, cool. Like, and then you have auto rifles actually in a good spot, and then you have pulse rifles in a good spot, hand cannons in a good spot. What all do you see in the primary or in the secondary slot? Shotguns or snipers. And that's all that you see. Run some, like if we buff sidearms and SMGs a little bit, just a little bit, where you diversify it to where it's like, okay, well you have to use a sidearm in this instance, to outplay a shotgun, or you have to use an SMG in this instance to outplay, let's just say, a sniper. It's like you just make, diversify it. Bring things up is what I'm saying. Don't nerf things. We need to bring everything up to an even keel to where all weapons are used equally.
Let me be devil's advocate on that real quick. Do you think that if we brought everything up to say 120 TTK or the last word TTK, to give an example, do you think that would mess up gameplay even more because you're looking at a 0.4 TTK with every weapon no matter what's being ran?
I have one thing to say. Fast TTK, Titanfall. It's fun to play, ain't it? Fast moving, fast gun play. I mean, I think that's fun. If you speed up the game, I mean, in my opinion, what's it going to hurt?
I don't think buffing the guns make the gameplay faster, though. I think nerfing the abilities does.
Mm-hmm.
The reason
Agreed.
the game is super slow right now is people just play for their shatter dive grenades or their stasis warlock.
Stasis aside, if we was talking about before stasis.
Yeah, I mean, pre-stasis, then sure, but I don't think there's a go back button. It's only going to get more oppressive. We're looking at an expansion that deals with poison next. So you're going to have to worry about being frozen while burning to death. That'll be super fun.
Agreed.
Can't wait to shoot celestial fire across the map with like space aids attached to it. That'll be fun.
You've been frozen and hit with thorn?
That's true. It's the
Get
same
ready.
Thing. Bruce actually had some solid questions tonight. Thanks for coming in, Brew. Bruticus Lee. Appreciate you. Bruce says, has Destiny ever been tuned to the point where the majority was happy? And are we being too picky with our expectations?
Destiny's always been unbalanced, I feel like.
Nah, that's not true. Half the people you ask will be like, D1 was literally perfect. Nothing was wrong with it. Port it over to PC and let me play D1 again. But that's them looking from the other side. During that time period, people complained the whole time. But now that they're on the other hill looking back, that's like the true definition of the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Destiny will never be perfect. The community can't agree on like half of the nerfs and buffs that we want. Even if people don't say it, this is the best it'll be sandbox wise. Like I said, we're a couple good tweaks away from, in my opinion, perfection.
I mean, I'm a strong advocate for Destiny 2 Year 1 double primary. I'm a strong advocate for that. I felt like that was solid. I even felt like 4v4 was solid. That's just my opinion. I mean, that's just me though. 3v3 is solid too, but 4v4 was pretty. I mean, it turned into a spam fest there, but I still feel like double primaries was where it was at.
Double primaries was fun. I dig it, but I also think that getting some crazy plays with shotguns or sniper rifles, things like that can open up something in a scrim type setting, right? Being able to get that pick in a scrim setting with a shotgun or a sniper rifle and then pushing with your team is a whole different vibe, right? And you can kind of control and push more effectively with the pick. So yes, while double primaries was fun, I think there's more of a excitement rating of hitting that quick scope head snipe as someone's pushing through than, hey, look, I'm running a scout rifle and a sidearm. You know what I mean? Like Mida Mini, Mida Multi, right?
Yeah, I think this is the issue though. I hate double primary. I think that shit's lame, but I understand why comp players think that's more competitive. I just think it's also boring. Destiny 1 was never double primary, and it was way more exciting to watch because there was a skill gap. You can make a skill gap without adding double primary being a
Destiny
thing.
1 was a fight for special. So, yes, it was double primary in the sense of you didn't start with a secondary weapon ammo, but everybody fought for that special box.
Yep. The ammo economy is the issue too, but like I said, they just keep making instant win buttons, which doesn't work for entertainment value. I mean, just from a content creator way, like the biggest example I can put forth is they do popular tournaments with like the top 0.01% players and look at what kind of viewership turnout they get for those. People just are uninterested.
Yep.
Still,
agreed.
even with them stripping the game back, most people don't care about Panda and all those guys duking it out, which I think is sad.
Agreed. And I think that's kind of the excitement value, and I also think that's the ecosystem in itself. I mean, if you look at somebody like Jake, right? Jake on a trial stream averages 2,200 viewers. Now look at somebody like, I'm not going to go with Ninja, but we'll go with somebody like Tim the Tapman, right? Mans was playing like Fall Guys, and he was holding on average 80-90K. So do you think that that's more of an ecosystem issue? Do you think that's more of a repeatable content and excitement type issue? What do you think?
I think for me personally, when I watch Jake play, when I used to watch Jake in D1 or Wish or any of those people, I used to be like, oh my God, I want to move like that. I want to do those things. I don't watch them and think that now.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like, I think that is another viewer thing. I think like people don't like what Jake does is incredible. He's a great trials player. He's a great PvP player. But most importantly, he's a very good entertainer. And I don't think he gives himself enough credit. If you asked him, he probably would be like, I don't want to go stream anything else. It won't be this great, but he'll build it back up and it will be that great because he's a great entertainer. But like I said, I don't watch those streamers and be like, oh God, that shade step double jump to a primary was so clean, followed up by a tether. Like, I don't look at it that way anymore. And I don't know if there's ever a way to for Bungie to fix that stuff.
Agreed. I do. Whether you got anything to add to that?
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I'm on the different end of things as far as like, I guess if we're talking about like case in points of like who I watch gigs. I've always watched gigs. I watched gigs since House of Wolves.
Sure.
And as far as the man runs quick play all the time.
I know. I match him all the time.
I mean, all he does is run quick play, and it's like, to me, it's like he literally only does quick play, and it's just he's just sitting there dropping 50 bombs, and I like watching him play. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just like, for me, it's like his skill is what brings me to him. Like he hopped on Apex. I mean, I still watched him. You know, it's just his skill, I feel like.
I mean, Giggs is great in anything he plays. It drives me insane.
He's super good. Like, I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but I mean, I hope I'm making sense. Like, I feel like no matter what Bungie does, if there's somebody like Grenadier Jake, like that has the skill and still ends up, you know, going into trials and just straight up mopping the floor with people, there's always going to be people watching because of skill, in my opinion.
I agree with that, but I don't think it helps grow. Like, I think a key thing, like Bungie was like Destiny 1 was like something new. Like, there's still nothing like Destiny FPS wise, but they're not innovating anyway. It's the same old stuff. And I think a lot of like it back in the day was people would watch Wish or Grenadier Jake and be like, I want to do that. And I don't think that pull is that strong anymore. And I think that's why Destiny doesn't continue to grow. It's like lighting a match. When the DLC comes out, everybody's like, yo, look at the Twitch directory. It's nuts. Everybody, like, it's like a drug. We all want it. I don't think Bungie can deliver it.
Agreed. I mean, if you look at, like, say, day one Ready Race, right? Glad hit something like 98K viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing the raid race, and he didn't even get first. Man's got 12th in the race, and everyone was still watching him.
But people want to see the new stuff. They want to. There's still people. This annoys me. I literally am so opinionated about this. There's people on Twitter that are like, all right, Destiny is no longer the experience for me. I am officially like, they retire on Twitter like they're Michael Jordan. Like, just go play a different game. But all those people tune in to watch Glad on race day or new season of Trials because they want Destiny to be great again.
Yep.
But they tune in and they're like, wow, this is great. They update the game, they play for a week, and then they turn around and look like the meme from Pulp Fiction. Where's the content?
Right.
Where are the things? Where's the new stuff? Like, I tweeted out today, I sat down last night after stream and I was like, what do I want from Destiny? I'm missing the raid rocket. I'm missing seals and triumphs. We're 1 month plus out from a fall DLC. I am sad. That is not okay.
Yep. Agreed. So from that, what and this actually rolls into Brew's question again. Brew is on fire. First off, let me correct real quick. Glad hit 130,000 viewers and he got 33rd in the world's first race. Fixed it. Thank you so much for correcting me. I gave an estimate and chat is on it with the corrections. Rolling it back, Brew again with a stellar question that'll actually roll into our conversation. He says, let's say you three got invited to Bungie and you're asked to make a change to the game for PvP. What do you change?
I got this one.
Fire it off. What you got?
My main thing, of course, is I always play as comp. I discussed this countless times. If you gave, let's just say, an emblem for 5,500, right? And basically made it replayable, and also give another weapon back, like Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten. Give that weapon back, and like give something back so you can chase it. And it's tied into how many resets you get with 5,500 or so on and so forth. Bring replayability back to the actual comp scene. Like, nobody asked for the changes that you made in comp. Nobody asked for 6 lives.
I think they're changing that though. I think they said that was an accident, and they're reverting it. I don't think that's intentional.
Did they say that? I didn't see that.
I swear I saw DMG tweet about how it's not intentional, and they are changing it. I thought
As much as I hate to admit it, I definitely have DMG on Notice On, and I don't think I ever saw that one.
I don't think it was a tweet. I think it was a response. Do you get notifications if you responds to somebody?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure that's where I saw it. Either that or it was on the forums, one of the two.
It could have been the forums, or it could have been Reddit. I'm going to miss that one.
I don't ever go to Reddit.
Okay.
Like, the main takeaway is, like, if you add more layers of depth to it, 5,500 could be the goal. Add more layers of depth to it, and add replayability to where you can reset it and get rewards on resets. Then, like, who wouldn't jump in there? Who wouldn't? I
would. Not everything needs to be like a broken ass weapon. Just give me a glow or something.
Something worth grinding for and worth helping.
I love emblems. Like, give me an emblem. I love an emblem. If you complete 5,500 on the first day, your first reset, you get 5,500. Give me a freaking emblem that says I did it. Come on.
Kind of like a day one raid race type emblem.
Yeah, and now I have no drive to go because I got unbroken. Okay, I have no drive to go to 5,500 anymore. Like, I just play it to play it, and if I lose, I lose. Give me something to where it's like, if you lose, you're screwed. Like, give me something like that. Like,
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I hope that's okay.
Yep.
If I go to Bungie, I am forcing the devs to give us an entire season dedicated to solely PvP. So that's my one thing, but that's going to encompass new maps, vendor refresh, brand new armor and weapons dedicated to PvP. Destiny, I want a rework with how Trials works in terms of I want better coding for connection-based matchmaking. If that's what they're going to call it, it needs to actually be that way. I want all of that. I want a dedicated PvP. I don't want a half-baked, this is your, like the last time they said that, the dedicated PvP season was a joke. We haven't gotten a new map in forever. And I don't want them to re-skin a D1 map. I want new maps. And I want a hand cannon, I want a shotgun, I want a sniper, I want an LMG, I want a fusion rifle, I want a sidearm, I want an AR, I want a scout, I want a rocket. I want a multiple of each for PvP.
Okay. So
I want my IS Luna grind back in quick play. I want there to be a reason to just play the damn game.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I want Asylum back. I just want Asylum back now, man.
I think a lot of people want that. I would agree with that. But like I said, I want to hold Bungie accountable, and I think that should be a cherry on top of something that they spend more time baking.
Agreed.
I don't think that should be the main course. I think that needs to be hey, by the way, guess what? Here's a Asylum back with 4 brand new maps that aren't dog meat.
Like, my main thing is like, why is it taking so long for them to even do anything PvP related? Do they not understand that once you do all the PvE content, people go to PvP? Do they not understand that? Like, and then PvP in the dull moments holds the game up, and has been proven to hold the game up. Like, you take that away, I mean, yeah, it's just 20% of the game. But if you take that away, everybody's going to leave after they finish the content.
Yeah, I disagree with Cameron, by the way. We've had PvE only seasons forever now. I think we'll be fine if they literally put the team focused on PvP. Like,
so,
that's me being hella selfish, but honestly, it's time. Or they either need to come out and be like, honestly, guys, we just really don't care about PvP.
And then I'll move on.
I'm tired of this half-baked shit. We deserve it.
How many seasons have we went through, Hardcore? You know what I mean? Like, how many seasons do we have to keep going through? Like, this is just ridiculous.
It is.
So here's a twofold on this then. Just to dive back into this. So if first off, do you think that Bungie won't give us a PvP specific season because of the toxicity yelling from I don't even want to call them community, from the shitbags that are, doxing, holding offline, using racial slurs? All of those guys are PvP players. Do you think that that's given Destiny creators, Bungie as a whole, a bad taste in their mouth towards PvP as a whole?
Yes, but come on, we all have to agree that it's not a PvP centric. PvP community gets the most flack because they yell the loudest, because we've been shunned for years now. But you go to the LFG forums, you need a credit score of 800, Galahorn in D1, 76 raid completions on a raid that hasn't come out yet. It is splitting hairs here. The community has a toxic side. We don't need to separate.
But those guys don't yell. You know what I mean?
Because why would they yell? They get new content every season.
True.
They get new stuff to play with. You know when the last time they yelled, they took away my... Oh, wait, sorry, hold on.
My sword skating's gone.
That's what they cry about. There's no other reason for them to be. I agree. The racist people, the doxing, the de-doxing, like all that stuff's lame. But like most of the people that are malding are just mad because we're tired of being ignored. Like we don't matter.
Agreed. No, 100%. 100%. So the other half of my question too is, and I had Boy on here a couple weeks back before we went into Beyond Light, and he made a suggestion that stuck with me still to this day. He said, what if we put a $5 charge on PvP? And that money went directly into PvP design team. Would that be something that you guys would invest in? Would that be something that you would elevate, push, and drive to get more people here? Or do you think that trying to charge for something to be able to get a completely dedicated team is not worthwhile?
No, I think they can do that, but they can do it in like really smart ways. They just need better. They need a better outlet for the Eververse. Like, I'm gonna be brutally honest. The shit Bungie puts in the Eververse is lame as shit. But you see games like Warframe that's literally free, that utilizes community focused and designed armor sets that they pay the commissions for, that the community buys. I've seen some community drawn artwork that rivals some OG D1 raid armor. That's just so good. But putting PvP trials needs to be behind a paywall. It doesn't solve all the issues, but it would solve some. Like that dives into like a bigger conversation about anti-cheat and stuff like that. Like the anti-cheat is never going to be like Eagle Eye or whatever. It's not going to be one thing. It needs to be multiple defenses acting as one. So like two factors, like a joke right now. But if they developed like an anti-cheat, made us pay for trials, but if they're going to make us pay for trials, they need to deliver content. It can't be like, we still don't have unique trials armor. We have D1 armor still.
Agreed.
So like if the next season came out and it was just like, hey, it's like, hey, we got 2 months, like the following season, if you guys pay $15 a month for it, dedicated friggin' PvP stuff, are you guys on board?
Yeah, 100% I would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pay $5 more.
I'd pay more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you're already going to pay for the season anyways. Most of these people are already going to pay, just Destiny sucks. And then they end up coming back anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. My running
you're
joke
addicted.
is nobody leaves Destiny.
You're
just take a
addicted
sabbatical.
to it.
There's
It is cocaine, bro. This
A
game is
lot of-
coke.
Is.
smarter people that work at Bungie than I could ever be, but in a sense, it just blows my mind that they don't realize the literal gold mine that they're sitting on. I'm not kidding when I tell you that Destiny's first-person shooter aspect is unlike no other, and if they put the money into it, the game would be Fortnite. The game would be the top of the Twitch directory. The game would not be on life support anymore. We can all agree PvE is great. The raids are good. Could they be better? Sure. But why they continue to treat PvP as like the redheaded stepchild just blows my mind, man. People want it. Obviously they want it. Just give it to us. And if it
So,
sucks
how
and
do
it
we
doesn't
get
do
this-
that, then just go. I don't know.
How do we get something
I-
like this to DMG and to Luke Smith that show that there's so many passionate people that really care? Because I'm seeing my chat say the same thing. They're like, dude, I would pay more than $5 a month for a dedicated team for PvP that could create something huge for us.
So
You got the wrong people speaking for us.
Yep. I was just about to say that. Aside
You have
from
the
Jake,
yeah.
aside from Jake,
Giggs has great opinions. Don't get me wrong. He has great opinions, and I'm not riding his coattails or whatever. There's a lot of good people that play PvP, a lot of them. But there's also a lot of bad ones, and they're the ones that are
Yep.
speaking up, and people are listening.
Yep. People are like, yo, just send Panda to Bungie. Absolutely.
my
I will
God.
pay somebody not to send Panda to Bungie.
He's great. He's a great player. Okay.
Great player. I will end
yeah.
it there.
He's
Great
just a great player.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Here's the difference. Back then in D1, we had leaders in the community. And I'm not saying Glad's not a leader, but the difference between Glad and King Gathalion and Broman and those guys are they took the community by the horns and they spoke to Bungie with respect, with an understanding, with a desire to see the game succeed. People at the top of the directory these days, and it's the climate we're in, are afraid to stand out of line. They're afraid to voice their opinions. They're afraid to, do all that stuff, in my opinion. So we need people like that. We need people that are vested
Chat, can I
in
get somebody
seeing the
to
game
clip
grow.
that conversation
I mean-
and send it over? Like, that would be huge.
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. As far as the whole Destiny directory goes, I'm pretty much a nobody. Okay, I'm making my way up there. Yes,
Same.
But if they was like, hey Weather or hey Hardcore, let's hop in a call and tell us what you think, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would even take a day of vacation from work to even sit there and wait by the phone to talk to them. Because I have a lot of things that I need to tell them.
Well,
And it's not anything negative either. It's just like, fix these small things, bro.
We need some new blood. I am a lot of you guys won't know, but I'm a big Lupo fan. Big fan of Ben. Happy to call Ben a friend. I've met him several times. We've gamed. But Lupo doesn't need to be going to Bungie. He does not play Destiny enough. We need Bungie to step out of their comfort zone, and we need some of the this is not me being selfish, me being like I need to go. Little guys need to go. We need a bigger sample size of players to go. It can't just be Giggs, Goth, Lupo, Jake. It needs to be a bigger sample size. Like, they went there and this is what we have. So we need something different. We need new voices. We need different things. Like, Glad got so much flack for his crap and he retracted it, which I think is a joke. Things need to be hard. Not everything needs to be obtainable. Stop handing players things. Stop babying players. If you can't get it, get good or move on.
Well, how hard did people have to grind for something
or pay the
like
money
NF?
for it?
Yeah.
How hard did someone have to grind for something like NF, right? There's still, let me retract that, because you can buy it from the fucking vendor now, first off.
Yep.
Pisses me off, but that's a completely different topic. I had people in my chat every single stream. Hey, can you help me get 5,500? Hey, can you help me get 5,500? Like, I want to try and get NF. It's getting sunset, I know that, but I still want to have it in my inventory. And they couldn't get it themselves. We need stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, I literally never chased NF. Never got it. I mean, I'm being serious. And it was hard for me to even get Lunas when I actually started trying to be, trying to jump into survival. It was hard for me to even try to get Lunas. Like, back when comp was, I felt, was actually at its peak. But people cried it was too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. That is the point of a competitive... It's not comp, first off. They fixed it from comp to survival to make it more friendly for everyone. Let's specify that first. Because
it needs
that goes
to be
back
hard
to
in different ways, though. Skill-based matchmaking is not the answer to being hard.
No, skill-based is
That's
not.
gatekeeping in a different sense. Nobody gets better that way, and it deters players.
Yeah, I sorry, I got distracted at the fact that you went in to go punch somebody with the Dune Marchers and you got frozen.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not focusing on that anymore because I'm pretty sure that's the day that I about lost my mind and punched a monitor. I've never had less fun in trials over a weekend.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reel it back and then I'm gonna tangent real quick. So I talk with Red fairly often, right? And he's been a guest on the school before. Super cool dude. I chat with him fairly often, and I was watching him on the day one trials on Bannerfall. We're gonna call it day one, right? And I don't know if you all saw, but he got frozen 4 rounds in a row to lose the card. And he ripped his headset off, punched his chair probably 10 times, and ended his stream. And that's what that just reminded me of.
Yep, that's basically that. I mean, it's just not fun. I refuse to conform. I think if you conform to it, like, you can if that's what you truly care about. But I think that shit is so boring. That's why, like, I'm not gonna go outside and sword peek it. I'm gonna lose, then fine. But I'm not sitting behind a box waiting for your abilities to come back. Ass. Yep. Literal ass.
Agreed. Oh my god, my chat's trying to ego each other on who's running first against you guys. This is pretty fun. So, It's Pathetic is a very long time viewer of the stream, and he's always in here, and he always comes in stacked for the first one to try and beat the guest of the week. But first, let's reel it back. We're at 1 hour and 40 minutes. Holy shit, we're killing it. These conversations are stellar. Thank you guys, first off. And then let's reel it back to the Bungie conversation, right? How can we provide constructive criticism that Bungie will listen to and hopefully adapt to? Like, yeah, we can say this sucks, nerf this, nerf that, adjust this, adjust that. What can we provide constructively to make the ecosystem grow for Destiny, so that it doesn't become a Black Ops 2 where it's just the sweatiest players you've ever encountered?
I don't know if there's a simple answer. Obviously, if we knew, it'd probably be happening. I honestly don't know if it's an issue of how to convey or that we need to convey it. I honestly, truly believe some days, and I'm holding on to a sliver that tells me this sentiment is wrong, but I feel like we're being ignored rather than we just don't have a catalyst, because True Vanguard is a wonderful human being, and he's got a lot of nice things to say about the state of PvP because he does it every day, and I feel like they ignore him.
Absolutely. Whether you got anything to add?
Yeah, I feel like we're just being... I don't feel like we're even going to be listened to, honestly. It's been,
but
like I said...
If we can share to chat the same opinions and valid viewpoints and not just shit game, fuck this, right? Maybe one day, God forbid, they'll see this or they'll listen, or somebody will be like, hey, Dylan, check this out real quick. Like, these guys are speaking a lot of sense, right? yeah, I'm a small creator. I don't get, hundreds of viewers for each of these podcasts, but who knows if one of these things that you guys provide goes viral and gets passed up the chain, right? Because it's more than just shit game, I'm done playing, right? It's more pure passion and love for what we do and what we enjoy.
I also think that that's warranted. I think that's a good idea, but I also feel like that doesn't happen these days because so many people are extremely opinionated and passionate. Like the community itself can't even agree with what's wrong. I can sit up here and talk till I'm blue in the face. I would imagine most of the people probably think I'm wrong, which I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but I'm saying there's no unification of the community on what actually needs to change.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm right. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people say that I'm wrong, when it comes to my viewpoints and stuff like that. What matters to me is that, it's my opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. So it's my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, so so be it. We just move on. We can agree to disagree. That's what needs to happen. Agree to disagree. It's not just shit game. It's okay, why are you saying it's a shit game? Oh, because of stasis. Okay, well, what do you think needs to change with stasis? This. Okay, then we agree. Yeah, well, then I guess it's not a shit game. Yeah, it's not. Just we need to come together and find common ground.
Mm-hmm. And I think we need to come together more than just shit game, I'm done, I'm leaving, and a Twitter post on that regard. I think we need to come together and pick things, a specific 1 to 2 to 3 things that we can all agree on. It needs a bit of tuning. And not a, hey, stasis is fucked. Those guys have probably thought about that for a year and how to implement it and what they want to do, right?
Here's also the thing. People got to stop hating on stasis. Stasis is the culmination of the community being please give us something new. Then they give us something new and everybody's like, oh my God, I hate it. Okay, that's fair, but this is them stepping out of their zone. And they've shown that for the most part, Bungie's changing. They're no longer swinging the pendulum extremely heavy-handedly. And when they do, they recognize it. Perfect example, Warlock Melee got nerfed to the ground to the point where it was useless, and then they reined it back out again a little bit. So give them time. It's the holidays. We're in a drought. I think the biggest thing would be we don't need to come together as a community and be like, this specific scout rifle needs a buff or this needs a nerf. We all just need to band together and be like, we want fucking PvP, Bungie. And we need some heavy hitters in the community like Glad and Frostbolt and TV. We need everybody to come together and be like, please, for the love of God, just give us something.
Agreed.
And then we go from there. If not, I just feel like we're being ignored. Until that, then I don't know.
The problem is, even you look at these guys like Glad and Sweat, right? And they play this game for 10 to 12 hours a day. And they're like, I'm bored. I'm done. I hate this. I'm playing other things. I hate this. So as a dev that has invested their time, their soul, their love into it, and something that they think is good, I think that they're probably jaded, because you're looking at these communities leaders that aren't providing anything of value. They're just like, this shit's stupid. I'm done. Right? And that in itself is just it's non-conducive. These guys were really responsive on something like when exactly your example on Warlocks. It was like, hey, the Warlock melee is a little too aggressive, and everyone said it at the same time. They toned it back, and they're like, well, now the Warlock melee is a little too weak, and they brought it back just a bit, and it's in a good spot. But that's because not everybody was sitting there saying, I hate this, it's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid. It's just instead of just bashing it.
Here's another thing too. I think a lot of I don't know DMG personally, and I'm respectful when I talk to him, at him or comment on stuff, and I always will be, because I understand how hard he works, and it's not his fault. He's not the one coding that stuff.
Agreed.
But I also have seen clips of him blatantly playing a cheater, and he has no fucking idea.
I saw that one. when he posted it, right?
That
Or no,
is a
Wish posted it.
problem. That is an issue. That is, and I know that's just the cheater thing, but it also makes me feel like maybe they are listening to us, but they don't understand. They're tone deaf on some of these things because they themselves don't see it as an issue.
Hold up, I'm gonna interrupt that real quick because Alan says no game testers. Bullshit. First off, bullshit.
They have an entire Q&A department. QA department.
So
But they're a bunch
I
of
did the
studs.
math. Again, I did the math, and say we look at something like PvP for the day, right? It has 700,000 games ran in a day. That's games, right? If you have a team of 40 testers that run it, they would have to run it for 4 months to hit the same as what someone did in one day, or what the community did in one day. So we run into cheaters a lot more because we play a lot more. They're playing it in an enclosed environment. They don't learn it as much. They adjust things like that. It's not a game tester issue.
I think in this current setting, it is, though, simply because they probably have game testers, but I would say during a pandemic, they don't have a studio and a controlled environment to send people to. And I doubt they're sending out like IPs of the game to like random people because they can't contain it. They can't control like people's ability to leak stuff and crap like that. Like, look at what they fed Wish. Wish literally called everything to a T 100%. Because somebody in Bungie fed him that info. I literally, like, whatever playtesters they have, it's not third party and it's not the community.
To be fair, though, Wish is a boy who cried wolf. On the flip side of that. So he got fed all the info, but he also accuses every single person that beats him a cheater. Everyone. And he's played guys like
most of those
Austin
people
and
have been
Maz
found that they have been cheating.
He accused Austin, Maz, Steezy, all these guys that are really, really good players that play tournaments, but they don't stream every day.
I'm not a Wish fanboy by any means. I'm just saying that the man deserves a little bit more credit. He doesn't miss on some of those things.
Sure.
And while I do agree that he does cry cheater an awful lot, he's also been pretty right on
exactly.
most of
Wish
the
called
stuff.
Kana a cheater. Pathetic's been called a cheater. And these guys I've played with and watched their streams and stuff. God, he called Steezy a cheater because Steezy beat him with an arc staff last season.
I'm sure, but everybody, he's just under a tighter microscope. You know how many people I probably call cheater that's not cheating?
Yep.
Or you or anybody. Like, it's just the sense of the things. But that doesn't retract the fact that, like, we're like off topic with the whole thing. Like, Wish got fed all that info, but I think that the ultimate reason there's not play testers like there normally are is because they can't control the IP because they're not at the office, they're not at the studio, they're all working from home.
Agreed. And that's obviously something that's never had to be done before. We've never had a pandemic of this caliber that's lasted almost a year. So huge props to them for being able to. And don't get me wrong, I have my own critiques towards Bungie's designs and devs and stuff like that. Let me cover that first. But the amount that they've been able to accomplish, even with what's going on, like with the pandemic, is impressive. It really is. Things like the adaptations and changes with when the new season dropped, right? And things getting locked out because there was a bug that was found. Like, that kind of stuff is hard as fuck to do remotely. I hate working remotely.
Let me just say, the only reason I brought up Wish was to use him as an example of him getting leaked content as a defense of why they aren't sending out their IP to be play tested by randoms. That is literally the only reason. Like, other than that, I could care less about Wish you luck. I don't find him a good person, but that is the example I would use as to why they don't have people other than like DMG or whoever that works for the studio that obviously isn't, we put way more time into the game. They work for the game. They don't put the time playing the game like we do.
Agreed. 100% agree. And I think that's why they need to open their ears a little bit and find some people that they trust. I know Hunter and Kenny went to Bungie right before Beyond Light dropped, and they were pretty excited about it. So they got to put some input into it. But still, that's 2 people out of a massive ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I just think they need a bigger sample size. I just think they need to start broadening things to different people.
But how do you build a bigger sample size without leaks, right? The guy that leaked to yes, G1 Kenny, as in Kenny Vaccaro, as in Kenny Savage, him and Hunter, which Mikowski, went to Bungie a month or 2 before Beyond Light dropped. And they got to check everything out. So, yes, there is a thing. There is some, but it's not enough. But how, playing devil's advocate, how do you find the people that you can trust to game test without leaking it? Or the flip side of that, do you release a beta test for each season? Right?
I don't think you can beta test. I think that takes too much resource that they probably don't have currently as a indie studio, quote unquote.
Sure.
Those people are playtesting and getting to see things because Bungie literally, they're not those. And this might be offensive to people, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful. Those people are being brought to Bungie to see things to hype the game up. We don't need that. We need actual people that are gonna be like, this is not good. Like, people are afraid that if they go to Bungie and voice their opinion, then they're not going to be invited back. I mean, goddamn, so what? If I get one chance to go and I see something, I am not sucking any dick because I care more about the game. I don't know. I just think that Bungie needs to expand upon like who they bring. I think Bungie needs to get DMG, Cosmo, whoever out into the environment and be like, more selective of a variety of people. The top echelon of the Twitch directory is not working.
Agreed. I 100% agree. All right, we're gonna touch base. Whether you still here, you're pretty quiet.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
yeah, no, I'm here. You're reminding me of Leg last week. Yep. Nope. Ban it.
Well, I mean, Hardcore's got it pretty on point. Like, I really don't even have to say anything. He's speaking my mind, really.
Sorry, dude. Once I get going, I don't shut up.
No. I love it. I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect. When we're well over the time, but I keep saying this. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Holy shit. Let me touch on the dedicated servers. So, as a data center manager, servers are fucking expensive. So expensive. You're looking at $3,000 a server, and each server can host anywhere between 48 people and 84 people. If we have an ecosystem of $800,000, you're looking at a multi-million-dollar dedicated servers, and that's not including the network or the reserve space in a co-location. I have seen Bungie servers.
Okay, how much have they made off of VVeather?
I don't care.
That's all I'm saying. Like, there's no excuse. No excuse at this point. There's no content. So you're not really making anything. We're paying for VVeather stuff. We're paying for expansions. We're paying for seasons now. Where's this money going? Other than, I understand paying the employees, yes, but like, you mean to tell me that the lifespan of Destiny 2 hasn't warranted enough for dedicated servers? It's a cop out. Here's
also another perspective of that stuff. People can sit there, like, I think everybody would literally, if you put out a poll today and we're like, do you want dedicated servers? It would probably be the biggest landslide ever. That doesn't change the fact that it's probably not plausible with the engine that they currently run on. And while Bobby touched on it earlier, they would have to literally port D2's IP to a brand new engine to incorporate dedicated servers. Like, what they're doing right now is very minimal, yet effective, because for the longest time, Bungie was like, we can't put out updates unless it's Tuesday because of Microsoft. Yep. And there's different consoles and different rules and stuff like that. Like, we think that's a big deal. It's not. Bungie's way behind on that. Fortnite's been doing like live updates for like 2 years now. The only reason we're excited about it is because it's never been a thing in the history of Destiny's life. So a lot more groundwork needs to be changed for dedicated servers to even be a thing. even for a AAA title, like it doesn't matter. You would literally have to build an engine from the ground up and port everything. It would be a totally new game. You can't just like unplug Destiny and plug it into a new engine. That's not how coding works.
No, not at all. That's really not. The amount of coding and layering that are built into an engine is huge. So the way that the new physics engine works, right? It's the closest they can do to a dedicated server without doing a dedicated server. It really is. It's a virtual server that encompasses what a dedicated server would do, but it has some limitations versus having dedicated. And that's from a coding standpoint, because I've been coding for a decade. I can tell you that it's not fun, especially trying to reconvert code, saying going from Java to Ubuntu, right? Or going from Java to Python. There's so many nuances that have to change that, God, it would take an entire season of zero content just to be able to convert to a dedicated server. So it's not really feasible. It's really not. Anything to add, guys?
No, I mean, I agree with everything. I also don't think that fixes everything. I mean, I know why everybody wants it. But I don't think we'll see it in Destiny 2's lifespan. You'll see it. What did Luke Smith say? He's got a 10-year plan or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's like no shot Destiny 2 doesn't get ported. The IP doesn't get changed to something eventually, but I don't even know if that's feasible. Like 10 years from now on this engine, nobody's going to play the game. It's going to be like RuneScape now.
That's fair. That actually is really fair. And that goes back to I like to use the Black Ops 2 example, right? Same thing. The only people that play Black Ops 2 are the people that are absolutely fucking insane at Black Ops 2. Weather, anything to add?
I mean, I'm pretty much sticking to, what I had to say. Even though I understand where you guys are coming from, but it's like, I mean, come on, man. Like we've been on this train for how long now? It's like, I mean, dedicated servers is like the cherry on top. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of other things that need to be fixed beforehand. I mean, anti-cheat, obviously, but like, come on, man. Like you can't say that, this AAA title, AAA game developer has no funds at all to even start the process and start building it and just give us updates.
So let's call it AAA. It was AAA when Activision
it is not.
was
It's an
involved.
indie studio now.
It is an Indian studio because Activision's gone. So they went from a budget of billions to a budget of millions, which sounds like, oh cool, you lost a comma. No, that is huge. Huge. If Bungie puts out something that's fucking terrible, so they're gun shy. If they put out something that's fucking terrible and nobody touches it and the ecosystem hits 50,000 players, they're dead in the water. Whereas if Activision backing put out something that has 50k players, well shit, we're gonna adjust it and do it back.
See, I'm going to hit on exactly the same thing like Alan just said. They have an announced IP and an unannounced IP in the works.
Yep.
So
One of those is a cell phone mobile game, though.
You're spending money on something that's... Oh, see, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
But you don't know what fraction that is. Like, okay, let's say they scrap the mobile game IP and they dump that back into Destiny. What are we going to get? One
more
raid
resources.
armor set?
I mean,
I
get more
guess.
resources.
We don't know how big, though, like how many people are dedicated in terms of resources. It could be like very minor. And then if we do that, then, and there's no changes, then that's enough. Like, I believe Bungie knows what they're doing. I don't think Bungie doesn't care. I just don't know if they know what they need to do. I think that's the issue.
True. That's true. CG Barrett is leading a minor IP as a game lead.
Yeah, I mean, like, just imagine if you took that minor team and put it towards something that actually needed work on, like PvP. That's all I'm saying.
Do we really think? I don't know. I mean, I get it, CJ Barrett, but...
Well, for fuck's sake, let's be real. I think the team size doesn't matter. Look at something like Among Us. That was created by 3 dudes as a college project. But it was built as something good, and then someone like Tim the Tatman picked it up and was like, holy shit, this is fantastic. And it went off. It's still going off. Right? So
I also don't think that's I don't know. That's totally different. I think Bungie has the growth and what's the word I'm looking for? Bungie has to have growth in mind as well as sustainability. If Bungie dumps resources and funds into dedicated servers, is that really going to solve the underlying issues that are Destiny 2? Because the answer is no. So my whole fight would be, why do we even care about dedicated servers to play a game for loot we don't care about? Because that's the issue is the loot's not there, the content's not there, like the thickness, the meat, if you will, is not there. Like, you could add dedicated servers, and I'm gonna be like, yo, comp is so fun to play for no rewards. Glad the connections are great. Like, that's not gonna bring people in. I just think they need to fix the game, provide the meat, and then go from there.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it's like, where are we going to invest? We're going to play. Don't worry, peace. I know it's been 2 hours. This has been a solid conversation. Like, it has been a blast. I've had some that are like on the hour, on the nose. We're like, all right, let's jump into the practicals. But the conversations and your guys' just viewpoints have been valid. It's not,
It's the
this
passion,
is stupid,
man.
let's end it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like, it's passion, but it's a positive passion. It's a full conversation. It really is. Let's cut it there. I didn't know we didn't get a chance to ask chat if they had any more questions, but let's cut it off here and let's switch over to the practical portion. I'm gonna go on a BRB. If you guys want to go use the restroom, go for it. Grab a drink of water. We
need some
will
water.
run it back for sure. Otherwise, let's get it popping.
Works for me.